beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having an absolutely wonderful week, and I really hope you guys enjoyed last week's video. This week's video is going to be similar along the lines of it's not going to be informative as such, because I feel as though I may have thrown a lot of that in your face recently, so I'm just giving you guys a kind of 2-week break. But don't worry, next week we will be back at it with the informative content. But do let me know, guys, if you are enjoying this more creative, more one-to-one, less information being thrown at you in the face kind of videos, because I do enjoy making these. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the experiences that I have had, and one in particular. Today I'm going to be talking about the Azrael experience. So yes, today is basically going to be a little exploration to probably the very first moment that sparked this entire spiritual journey. And I want to kind of bring you guys with me along this. So, with no further ado, let's crack on. So I'm going to start semi at the very, very beginning, because I feel like this is where it kind of started. So, the very first thing that happened in this course of events was I went to a psychic development workshop towards the beginning of all of this, when I started to acknowledge these gifts at the very beginning, where I was noticing things and starting to understand things. And at this workshop we did multiple exercises and multiple things that helped us connect psychically and connect with our intuition and things like that. One of the things we did was reading cards. Now this was the pack of cards that I picked up off of the table that she had in the room of cards for us to do this exercise with. And I kid you not, the moment I started using these, I fell in love, and I wanted to get a pack of my own, but I didn't have much in the way of money or experience then, so I didn't get it. And not too long after I did this workshop, I went to the Healing Weekend, which is a massive spiritual festival that I go to every year, and I love it so very much. It's like my spiritual reset of the year, because you are just surrounded by loads and loads of people that are like-minded and understand where you're coming from and accept you for who you are, and you can be yourself there and no one cares. Literally, it's a place of pure freedom, pure bliss. Just, it's incredible, and yeah. You'll understand why this pack of cards is important very shortly as we get further into the proper story. So, at this Healing Weekend, for a couple of months now, I had been looking for a pendulum, because I always liked the idea of using a pendulum. And months prior, I was in Swanage and I had found one. It was a dark labradorite pendulum, and it actually worked for me. I didn't expect it to, but it did. So I thought, okay, this one's for me, I'll take it home. Then it came to the Healing Weekend, and on the very first day of the Healing Weekend, the Friday, I saw this little guy just sat there on somebody's display on one of the stalls in the main stall marquee, and I looked at him and I immediately thought, okay, this guy might be for me. And I played with him, and it was responding really well, and I just fell in love immediately, and it worked perfectly for me, and I felt its energy. So I basically said to myself, this is the way I do a lot of things when I go to the Healing Weekend, as I said, if it's still here on the Sunday afternoon, then it's meant for me. And that's how I deliberate between things. And lo and behold, at the end of the weekend, it was still there, sat on this person's display. It was the exact same one, because it had the exact same chippings in it, and the crystals were the same. It had very distinct markings on it and in it. So I brought it home, and when I got home, I think it was either the day after or a couple of days after, I sat on my bed and I just started playing with it. I started holding it and I was asking the basic questions of like, show me a yes, show me a no, and it did all of those things for me. And then I started asking questions like, is there someone out there who has a message for me? Is there someone out there who wants to send me a message? And this was when I started getting the more interesting answers, and things got a little deeper, because it sat there and it started screaming at me yes, and it was the biggest yes I've ever had, and it was going absolutely ballistic, and I couldn't believe my eyes. So I then asked, really stupidly, knowing full well that this thing can't actually tell me things like this, I asked, well, can you tell me your name? And it said yes. And then I kind of was there like, well, okay, well, how is a pendulum supposed to tell you somebody's name? And so I just sat there for a moment in silence, and out of nowhere I just got the letter A in my head. And I was like, ooh, is this your name? And the pendulum said yes. So I sat there and I listened to my intuition, I listened to that connection, and I eventually got the name Azrael. And at this point, this name meant absolutely nothing to me whatsoever, and I was extremely confused. So I then went to the first person that came to my mind who might have a better clue than I do, and that was my aunt. So I ended up messaging my aunt the entirety of the story. So my aunt then started looking through some of her cards, and lo and behold, she had this pack of cards at home. And because it's an angel tarot card deck, she started looking through it. And lo and behold, in this deck was an angel Azrael. And I remember the moment she took a picture of the card and showed me, and then she took a picture of the definition in the booklet that comes inside nearly all packs of cards. And I remember reading it, and at the time I knew there was a significance of it, but I didn't realise how big of a significance it would actually have. So as you can see, the card is about release, and at this time I was extremely stressed, I was extremely uncomfortable in myself, I had a lot of anxiety, I was suffering really badly with depression and things like that, and I had a lot of pent-up emotions that I hadn't released. And this is why at the time this card hit me this way, and I didn't quite see the bigger picture until more recently when I look back at this moment. So the note in the booklet says, this card signifies that it's time to move on, because this project or phase of your life is now complete. There's no benefit in remaining in this situation. Instead, shake off the old and welcome the new. You may experience a sense of relief at this ending, or there may be some sadness. Either way, it's time to leave that which you've outgrown. Take your time in adjusting to this change in your life. It's not necessary to rush ahead. Be kind to yourself during this period of transition, and seek the support of friends and family. The additional meaning for this card is inevitable positive changes, facing your fears, relationship transitions, and spiritual evolution. I remember interpreting this as that I was reaching the end of a phase of my life. I think I was coming to the end of school, where I was about to start college at the time when this happened. And I remember kind of like, okay, yeah, that's very true, I'm starting college, it's going to be a new phase of my life, it's going to be changing things. I could be wrong at the time of this, so don't come at me, but that was roughly when it happened. And that was how I thought of it. I didn't pay much attention to the one thing at the end of the additional meaning section in the booklet, which was spiritual evolution. And I now look back on it to today as that was the very day that things began to change to the way that they are now. That I managed to start changing my perspectives, I opened my mind, I started tapping into higher consciousness, I became a much more of a spiritual person from this day. I'll never be able to get over the fact that everyone has these defining moments in their life. Sometimes they're meeting a person, sometimes it's buying clothes, buying an object, buying a computer, sometimes it's talking to one person, but for me, my defining moment was talking to a pendulum. But it was all a series of events that seemed to lead up to this, and it all connected so beautifully to me that this whole moment couldn't have been coincidence, even if it tried. And that was when my aunt gave me these pack of cards, and I have been using them ever since. I use them as much as I possibly can. They are my thickest deck of 78 cards, and I love these cards to death. They are my go-to cards whenever I can. As well as this pendulum. This pendulum is my go-to pendulum all the time. And to this day, I still can't thank Azrael enough for kick-starting this beautiful thing that has become my life. It's made me change my surroundings. It's made me change my perspective. It's made me change how I see people and see the world and feel about the world. And it's opened my mind to the possibilities that are out there that I wish everyone could see, because they are so inspiring and it's just incredible. So that's my first little story time of when I met my first Archangel, Archangel Azrael. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought about the situation and whether you may have experienced something similar. If you have any questions about the experience, I am fully open to answering any of them. If you just want to let me know how you thought this video went, whether you like this, because I would like to make this a little story series of story times so that you guys can kind of see things from my perspective and understand how I came to be how I am, the things I've experienced, the people I've spoken to, the things I've done, the people I've met. It's just, I want you guys to almost be able to take a step into my life so that you guys can understand where all of this has come from and how it's affected me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I look forward to creating future story times in the future. So if you really enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave some comments down below. I love you all so very, very, very much, and I will see you all on Saturday for our wonderful guided meditation. With love and light,